All right, we're about to dive into the really fascinating and, let's be honest, pretty complex story of a man named Reynaldo Aguiar. Now, he's a software engineer, but he makes this incredible claim that for the last 20 years, a powerful, clandestine network has been trying to control and basically imprison him. But instead of breaking him, he says they accidentally created their own worst enemy.
And this quote right here, it cuts straight to the heart of the whole conflict. Aguiar knows he absolutely expects his entire story to be called a complete fabrication. He's basically saying, I know it's coming, they're going to say I'm a lie. This really sets the stage for a battle over what's even real, and he believes he's already a step ahead of them.
So why? Why is he so sure they're going to attack his credibility? Well, according to Aguiar, he was warned by an informant that a whole discrediting campaign is being prepped by his enemies. And the goal, he says, isn't just to make him look bad, it's to paint him as a total puppet.
And he gets really specific about what this campaign will look like. The whole strategy, he claims, is to frame him as some kind of asset for the American empire. They'll argue that there's just no way his success story is real without a hidden script, without foreign money backing him up. The ultimate point is to convince everyone that he's not a real person with a real problem, but an invention, something created to destabilize Venezuela.
Okay, and this is where his response gets just so ironic. Aguiar basically looks at their main line of attack and says, you know what? You're right about one thing. I didn't do this alone. He completely co-opts their argument and flips it, turning it into the very foundation of his own story, which he calls his village theory.
So his whole theory is built on that famous African proverb, it takes a village to raise a child. He said he actually first heard it from colleagues at Goldman Sachs, of all places. And the idea is simple, right? It's beautiful. It takes a whole community to help a child grow. But as you're about to see, he puts a really dark and twisted spin on it.
See, Aguiar just flips that proverb completely on its head. He claims his village wasn't some loving community. No, it was a synthetic one, a prison, really, that was meticulously built by his enemies. But here's the kicker. This prison, with all its fake jobs and engineered relationships, well, it accidentally became his university. His captors, he says, became his teachers without even knowing it.
So you might be asking, okay, what's the proof for this synthetic village? He points directly at his own career path. He argues that the way his career progressed is just so unnatural, so bizarrely fast, that it could only have been orchestrated by some outside force moving him around like a piece on a chessboard.
In this timeline is his core evidence. Just look at this. He claims the network took him from being unemployed in Calgary all the way to Google's core web server team. I mean, that's the very engine of their search, and then just transplanted him into the high-stakes world of Goldman Sachs. He argues every single one of these moves was meant to exploit him, but instead, it gave him this world-class education he never could have gotten otherwise.
And he gives some very specific examples of this training. First, he alleges that an agent who was posing as his girlfriend took him to a philosophy school, not to educate him, but to spy on him. But he paid attention, and he learned all about concepts like checks and balances, which he now uses in his strategy. Then, at Goldman Sachs, a mentor who was supposed to be helping him with cultural issues drew him a diagram of circles of influence to navigate office politics. Aguiar claims that exact diagram became the blueprint for his primary weapon against the network. Wild.
So all of this whole 20-year story of being imprisoned and exploited, it all builds to what is honestly the most startling part of his entire narrative. You'd expect him to be talking about victimhood, right? But no, he lands on a conclusion that is just the ultimate irony.
He directly names the person he says is his chief antagonist, Travis Kalanick, and he claims to be his creation. But then he goes even further. He says he's thankful. In his mind, the very network that tried to crush him is the only reason he has the knowledge, the tools, and the strength to fight back. They literally forged their own enemy. And just to add another layer to it all, he doesn't even see himself as the ultimate victim here. He reflects that, yeah, they tried to get rid of him with what he calls soft methods, but millions of other people have been killed outright in conflicts that he believes this same network is behind. He feels like his situation, where he got to learn and survive, well, he feels like he was spoiled in comparison. So we're left with this really powerful, really provocative question at the center of Reynaldo Aguiar's whole story. Is he a fabricated asset, just like he says his enemies will claim? Or is he the ultimate unintended consequence, a fighter who is forged in the very prison his enemies built just for him? That's the question at the heart of this incredible story.